Hi, this is 365801 and this is another reviewing male romance video. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Close Proximity series. This is a 3-volume series written by Lily Morton. There is Best Man, Charlie Sunshine and After Felix. The first volume, Best Man, has just had a fairly recent release of an audiobook, and this is once again narrated by Joel Leslie. He was the same narrator that was used for the Black and Blue series, The Amazing Blue Billings and The Quiet House, which I recently finished and enjoyed a lot. So when I was going for a walk, I thought I'll just see if I've got any credits for Audible, and I did, and Best Man was there and I thought I'll give it a read. And unfortunately, yes, I fell down the rabbit hole and got totally obsessed and had to read the whole series. So it just goes to show, once again, Lily Morton's writing was good enough and the characters are fun enough to get me hooked completely. So I'll just give you a quick summary of the plots for each of the 3 books, starting with the first one, Best Man. Best Man follows Zeb Evans, who is a pretty uptight guy who likes order, nothing messy, everything in its place, and he owns and runs an employment agency. It's a bit like a temp agency where you can ask for someone to come and help you trim your hedges or do your shopping or be your date for a funeral. And one of the employees, Jesse Reed, who is 20 years younger than Zeb, is the exact opposite of him. He is always getting into trouble, a complete whirlwind, but has the kindest heart. Now Zeb asks Jesse if he will be his pretend date to a wedding where he is the best man. The wedding is actually Zeb's ex-boyfriend's, and he has to be the best man at this wedding, where a lot of people don't particularly like him because he's his ex-boyfriend. Anyway, this story has fake dating, it has age gap, and it also has one of the things I love the most, and that is a very thoroughly evil ex-boyfriend, yes, who stirs up trouble and of course in the end helps the two to get together. The second book in the series is called Charlie Sunshine, and we follow characters that were introduced in Best Man. The first character, Charlie Burrows, is a sweetheart. He's a librarian, and he also unfortunately suffers from epilepsy, which is a new thing that he's having to deal with and struggling with. He's always trying to be the perfect boyfriend, and he's feeling like he's letting his boyfriends down by not being perfect because he has this illness that he's not fully able to cope with. Now, the person that helps him out the most in life is his childhood friend and neighbour, Misha Lebedinsky. These two have been together since they were 6 years old and best friends. Now, Misha is almost Charlie's complete opposite. He's a hedge fund manager, he makes a stack of money, he's got a fabulous apartment on the side of the Thames, and he loves nothing better than grinder hookups and no relationship whatsoever. He's always having to look after people. He doesn't want to have to do that when it comes to a lover. So when Charlie needs to find a new place to stay, Misha offers to let him move into his apartment, and the two end up spending a lot more time together in close proximity. This is such a sweet story, from childhood friends to lovers, and all of the kind of intricacies of the relationship and how they have to navigate the changes in their status and what it means for each other. Such a sweet story. Now, the third and final book is called After Felix, and in this one we are all about second chance at romance. I don't usually like second chance romances, but this, oh my god, hurt. It hurt, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. In After Felix, we are following Felix Jackson, who is the employee at Zeb's employment agency. He basically runs the show. He is a sassy, snarky individual, and absolutely my favourite character. Now, he is most snarky and reserves all his most snarky comments for Max Travers, his ex-boyfriend from a few years ago. Now, why is he the ex-boyfriend? Oh, you have to just read the story and find out. It is so sad, but also so hot. So good. Max Travers is actually Zeb's ex-step-brother. So yes, everyone knows everyone. Felix is also Misha's cousin. So yes, everyone's related to everyone. It's so good when there's little crossovers with other characters. You never say goodbye to them. This one really hit me in the feels. I really felt for Max. He was a douche, but I loved him. Felix was stubborn as a mule, and I loved him. And the two of them had the most delightful trip away. Oh, so jealous. After Felix ended up being probably my favourite. So every single time I always start with a con, and sometimes the con is not actually a con. For some people, they're like, what are you talking about? That's a total pro for me. I'm now going to read this. That's fine. Great. And even for me, sometimes these cons aren't something bad. They're just something that made me go, huh? Or made me think a little bit more about something. And that's definitely the case here. So the only con I have with the series is, number one, financial saviorism / sugar daddies. So this is definitely a trope in romance when someone might be in financial distress or, dire straits or needs some help in some way, and some big, tall, broad-shouldered man with slightly hairy chest and a tan skin and very tight abs and a big dick who knows exactly how to use it. Oh yeah, and the wads of cash that he's got in his bank account. Sweeps you off your feet and takes you off into the sunset. This is a trope that I am totally okay with. When it comes to my feminist belief, I'm like, no, this is not on. We do not need sugar daddies. We do not need to be rescued. We need a living wage. My politics step in and I think, well, no one should need a sugar daddy. If you want a sugar daddy, you can get a sugar daddy. It does make me think of a Drag Race, because you're sickening. Anyway, this whole thing kind of made me really think about what it is to be poor and to want to be financially rescued, which is kind of sad, really, that this is a trope that happens quite a lot. And I do think this has some deeper underlying issues when it comes to women's sort of emancipation from the husband in the home who has access to the purse strings, who has control over the purse strings and things like that. So this is why it's kind of a con, because it is something that perpetuates that kind of stereotype. Whereas what we want is higher wages. It's far too political for a male romance. None of this is an issue in the actual books, but it just made me think that actually there's a lot of financial saviorism going on in this series. When it comes to Jesse, it's his boss. His boss went through loads of hard times, but he still inherited a whole building. So yes, it was awful. He's gone through grief and he's gone through a lot of hardship and poverty, but he still inherited a building. Jesse, he's made out to be, very poor, and he's always going through jobs and he's got student loans. He's 100% middle class. He's got a lovely home in Devon or Cornwall to go home to if he needs to, and a really big family who will look after him because he's the baby. Then we got Charlie, who has a perfectly good job. I mean, it's not a well-paying job, but it's a good job, and it's probably an okay salary, so much better than the person he's working with, because he's the manager at the library. He's not working in the library, he's the manager, so his wage, as they joke and laugh, haha, you get the big bucks, but they will be significantly higher than the person he's working with. Who, of course, he's hanging out with Misha, who is a hedge fund manager, and they talk about the hardship that he had to go through when he lost his father, and they had the insurance policies. An insurance policy is amazing. So middle class. It's so middle class because it doesn't happen for people who are in the working class or who are poor. Then you have the next one, Felix, once again, there was an inheritance from, unfortunately, something tragic in the past. And he used that. And he's been working solidly. He's probably the least middle class, except he got a scholarship into or I think he got a scholarship anyway. He got into a private school, which means he's now getting access. And there is privilege there, which is why he's in this little group along with Misha. There's the connection there from family. And you've got Max, who's gallivanting all around as a journalist. And we know that in this country at the moment, the majority of journalists, just like the majority of politicians, have been privately educated. All of the characters in this series are middle class. And there is still financial saviorism, i.e. sugar daddy, going on, which is just so interesting because for me, as a working class person, I'm like, wow, it's still the trope that you want to perpetuate. And I'm totally okay with it because I loved that they were all happy in the end. But that it's something that just made me go, huh, and stop and think. As a feminist, I'm going, no, but also as someone who's working class, I'm like, yeah, give me a sugar daddy. Someone who is big and beefy and who's well built and well hung and has lots of money, that's fine, good. I'm going to feel really good. So yeah, anyway, financial saviorism, something that made me think. It also made me consider the setting to be a bit like Notting Hill, Love Actually, or Bridget Jones's Diary, which is where I say this isn't a con, because it helped me to see this as like a movie that I would probably love and enjoy watching. I can understand, all of the different houses that they go to, or the kind of issues when someone thinks, oh, these guys are like upper middle class and I'm just lower middle class. And I might not have the right jumper on, and they've got lots of expensive suits and, all of that kind of stuff. And I could totally see it and see it in my mind's eye as the type of movie that we get that's made in Britain as a rom-com. So yeah, lots of middle class and posh accents. And I was not averse to that, but it definitely made me think, yeah, this is a middle class story. It made me wonder, is Lily Morton middle class? And or has she ever been in financial dire straits and therefore this is a trope that she likes? Someone to come in. Is she an impoverished author and would like someone to rescue her with lots of money? Because I can totally see that. and I'm not shaming anyone who would say yes to a sugar daddy. So yeah. That's just something that I noticed about this series. Now I'm going to go on to the pros next. Obviously I have a few things that I think were great about the series, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this review. The first one is humour and wit. When I say this is laugh out loud, I cackled. I cackled long and hard. I had to stop and pause and just laugh because of something that one of the characters said. Or just the general description of something. It was so good. Every single book, there were laugh out loud moments. I mean, this happened before with the Black and Blue series, but to an even greater extent, this one was definitely sex comedy. And I loved it. There were times when characters would say something and I would just have to stop and laugh, which was so embarrassing in the middle of the co-op when I was shopping. But that's what it was like. So I was out walking, I was doing my shopping, I was doing my errands, and I thought, oh yes, I will have a listen and laugh out loud. Or I was sitting in my bed reading it and thinking, this is hilarious, I just have to stop and laugh for a bit and then make myself a cup of tea because my mouth was dry as I was laughing so much. So yeah, definite humour and wit is a Lily Morton strength. I have to say that's what I really enjoyed about it's sassy and funny, and it reminds me a little bit of Yugi Yamada BL manga because she has a way with sassy wit and humor as well. It's like funny and intelligent and also very topical. So there was things about it where they used brand names and made descriptions of the situation that just really brought everything alive and made everything just that heightened the humour, and I really, really enjoyed that. Now the next pro is the characters. I really loved the characters. Like I said, Max was a bit of a douche in After Felix, but he was also a sweetheart and hilarious and a little bit scheming and definitely sex on legs. So I very much liked Max. Felix, though, 100% is my absolute favourite, just because of the snarky character. I love his snarkiness. He had the best put downs, he had the best comebacks. And that was, I think, when it comes to my reasoning behind why I liked After Felix the best, because Max and Felix jump and bounce off of each other so much with their snarky, fast paced conversations that this was why I enjoyed it so much. It was a really, really good one. Charlie Sunshine with Misha and Charlie, they were just such sweet characters. Misha just being kind of bowled over and oblivious, and Charlie as well. He was just a ball of sunshine and someone you just want to wrap up in cotton wool and take care of, and yet when he was feisty, he was so feisty. And the sexual tension, so good. Oh, so good. And then, of course, in Best Man, we had Zeb, who's this older guy who's always been like, no, I'm too old. And Jesse's going, God, he's like, look at his butt. And I just loved that. I just thought it was hilarious that Zeb's always like totally, serious and focused, and Jesse is just 100% like, oh God, look at that crotch. Bet he's got a big dick. Just want him to ram it in me. That kind of internal monologue is completely different. I loved the characters. They were really, really funny, and I liked all of the other characters as well. And that's one of the things that I've only just learned, that a lot of Lily Morton's characters that come in and out of the stories, they're all kind of connected. And I found someone had done a character map of all of her different works and how they're all differently connected and in what ways. And it does make me just think, damn it, now I have to read all of her books, all of her works, because characters that are in even just like one little aspect of the story have their own story somewhere else. And now I'm going to have to read their book. Damn it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But these guys I really enjoyed, and I liked that they all had different tropes, they all had different aspects, they were easy to understand, but the one thread that ran through all of the stories was the sassy and snarky comments that just made it so enjoyable from all of these different characters. Now the final pro that I'm going to be talking about for the series is extras. And that is because even though this is just a 3-volume series, if you look this up on Goodreads, you will find it's actually put down as an 8-work series. So there's 3 primary works and there is 5 extras or spin-offs. There's also a couple of other things on Lily Morton's website where she does like Q&As with the characters. And that's something else you can read as well. So it says there's 5 extra like short stories with the characters, but there's other things you can gain access to if you go up to her website, if you sign up for the newsletter, if you join her Facebook group. This is what I really love about finding out more about the male romance authors, is how much extra they are giving. When I said before about Lynn Van Doren with her newsletter and how she'll email every couple of months and just be like, hey, here's a little story for you to read. And you just sit there and enjoy it, and it's great. And it's the same with Lily Morton. She's got loads of extras that you get if you sign up for the newsletter, if you sign up for this group. If you get the newsletter, you get 2 free stories. And of course, when you fall in love with characters, when you love the world that they're in, their fabulously privileged middle-class world, I loved it. I love these characters. I want to keep reading about them. And that's why I'm going to end up reading all of her other books, because with the off chance that one of the characters is going to pop up, you're going to be like, oh, hey, it's you, Felix. Great. he was definitely my favourite all the way through. So anything that has Felix in it, I want to read. So if there's extra Felix stories, which there are, one is called Eyes Wide Open and another one is called A Day in the Life of Max, you know you're going to want to pick up these extras. There's another one called Brighton Rock, which is for the Charlie Sunshine, and Of Maps and Valentines and The Graduate for Best Man. So extra stories as part of this whole series is something that I 100% love about male authors. So thank you very much, Lily Morton. Now, when it comes to rating these books, I'm not sure if I would give each individual book a 5-star rating. I think I might give Best Man like a 4-star or 4.5. Charlie Sunshine, again, a 4.5. And After Felix, I really enjoyed aspects of it, so I would have to probably give it a 5-star. But with all of the extras as well, that just lit up my heart. And of course, if I add in Joel Leslie's narration of the first book, I just cannot give it anything other than 5 stars. It's the whole package together just made me feel so happy reading it. I think the humour is what really sells it to me though. The fact that I have laugh out loud moments, the fact that I cannot wait for Joel's narration of the next 2. Like, I want to listen to him narrate these stories even though I've read them already. I don't care. I want to hear him do it, which means I really like him as a narrator and I really enjoy the stories and I'm totally happy listening to them and buying them off Audible. It is a really great little series. It's something that I wasn't expecting to enjoy. I thought, it'll be okay. I'm not gonna fall in love with these guys. Not like I did with Blue. No. And of course, I totally did. So yes, Lily Morton has risen in my esteem quite significantly. I really like her sassiness. I think I would call her sassy. And that's a really good way to just describe her writing in general. Sassy and very witty. And of course, that's something that I really love. So yeah, as a male series, male romance series, I really like that there's a mix of different tropes. I really like the characters. I really like the dialogue. And I just love the humour. It was a really good, fun time. And I was not supposed to read 3 books in like 2.5 days, but I did. And all of the extras as well. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm quite happy to get distracted when it's something like that. I know that I can heartily recommend this as a fun time. If you're in the mood for a laugh, some romance and some smexy times, then definitely give the Close Proximity series a go. So thanks, Lily Morton. I'm going to enjoy everything else you have written. So I'm 365-801 and I make videos about male romance, BL manga, yaoi and all that good stuff. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like. Remember, every day is a BLD and I will see you in the next video. Take care everyone. Bye.